to take the opportunity and do some work in talking about writing proposals. Proposals are going to be a little bit about what you acknowledge in the end of an argument or a persuasive paper. This is, what do you propose we should do regarding this problem or this issue that is out there? Or how can we improve a particular situation for a group or element of the population? So if you look at our textbook talks about the different characteristic features or different elements you will find in proposals. Specifically, we need to acknowledge what is the problem that we're solving. Next, we need to present a clear, compelling solution to this particular issue or problem. Next, we're going to have to justify that this compelling solution is the best one there. So we need some evidence that, one, our solution is going to solve this problem, and also explain how our solution is the best solution there. Next, just as we do an argument and acknowledging the counter arguments, we need to acknowledge that there's other possible solutions out there. And after we've acknowledged the other solutions and, in essence, said why our solution is better, we need to talk about give us some kind of a statement about why our proposal not only is the best, but what we hope that this is going to accomplish, what the end product looks like. Now, that is what our textbook says. And just as we talked about in argument, the textbook is giving us the different elements or the different characteristic features, but it is not talking about the headings, the actual structure of writing, and how we're going to put all of these elements into place in an actual written structure. So, with all things, the first thing we're going to do is give our project or our proposal a title. As with everything, our title should be, what is our idea? What is it that, in short, sweet summary, we are trying to do? Next, as we do with all writing, we're going to need to have an introduction. As it would go in writing a proposal, our introduction needs to talk about what is the problem and what is our solution and why is our solution going to solve this given problem. So the next is where it gets a little bit more technical. In writing a proposal, we need to really give the logistics and the nuts and bolts of what implementing our idea looks like. So we're going to have a whole idea, for lack of better terms, called logistics and implementation. And this is where we talk about what this actually looks like. So what does implementing this entail? What are we going to do? How are we going to do it? If you're doing something that is very technical or otherwise involves diagrams, pictures, other kinds of examples, this is where we're going to start inserting those diagrams, those pictures, those maps, if it's a geographical thing. This is where we're going to put that information. Depending on what it is that we are presenting, we need to acknowledge who the others are involved in making this project happen. Who are the others involved in terms of offices, departments, outside entities? Who are the decision makers? When we write this proposal, who are we giving this proposal to? And based on that, it's going to depend how we write something up, depending on who our audience is, because our audience is that particular decision maker. And in that, are they a gatekeeper to the next person that actually makes the decision? What does the structure look like that we are putting all this information together to or for? And who are we going to give the proposal to ultimately? Next part that we want to talk about in terms of logistics is the equipment, the supplies. What are the kinds of things that we need in order to make this happen? And with that, if we need supplies, we're going to need to have a budget. We need to present and talk about what the costs are, what are the initial costs to put something into place, and what are the long-term costs, the maintenance, and what is the maintenance, maintaining, managing structure going to look like. And if this is something that is a long-term project, obviously whoever is going to be the long-term manager of this needs to be on board with your idea. After we've talked about the supplies needed, the maintenance managed, the cost of the initial materials, the long-term upkeep and management, and who is managing or controlling it after the initial start of the project, we do need to talk about the desired outcomes. What is it that we're trying to accomplish? What do we want this to look like short-term and long-term? We also need to look at other places that have similar projects to what we're doing. Are we copying or imitating another project that is out there? Are we adjusting and adapting previous projects and building upon them to create something that works for our campus or our particular situation? These kind of examples can lend credence and support to our proposal because we can demonstrate how others have implemented in the past, where they've had challenges, shortcomings, and how we can improve upon that so that we put the best system into place for what we're proposing. And this, again, this could be websites, this could be pictures, projects, but other examples that demonstrate similar projects or similar ideas in their implementation. Websites, pictures, examples, so on and so forth. Last two parts we're going to want to talk about, just as we do an argument, just as we talked about the elements that were present, we need to acknowledge the Debbie Downers that are out there. We need to talk about the counter arguments to our proposal, what other solutions there might be, and bringing it back around to why our idea is the best one out there. And you might see this take place in two different ways. People that either want to shoot down your proposal and say that we should not implement this, or alternative ideas to it. It can be either of those kinds of things. But you're going to want to acknowledge out there that those things are going to exist and how we're going to counter or prove our Debbie Downers wrong. And lastly, as we do in all writing, we're going to need to have a conclusion that summarizes all of our information and leaves our audience with a challenge or an idea of this is the best thing going. We can go forth, do good, accomplish this great thing, and this is what we need to do. This is why we need to do it. This is how we need to do it. We must go forth now and accomplish this goal. And That, in essence, is our proposal. We go from our title and our introduction, talking about our logistics and our implementation, how we're going to accomplish what we're doing. We're going to acknowledge the logistical pieces of who's involved, who our gatekeepers are, what our supplies, our maintenance and management looks like. Our desired outcomes, both short-term and long, examples of what else is out there, similar projects that have been successful and how we can adjust or adapt those for our needs. Our counter-arguments and our naysayers and how we're going to acknowledge them and demonstrate that our idea is the best one out there. Present other possible solutions, but again, reiterating why this is the best option going forward. And concluding with our challenge of going forth, accomplishing this great thing, leaving our audience with a good, positive feeling and structure to put our proposal into place. Thank you.